Hello students, welcome to Legacy as Academy. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about completion of 1 year for Modi 3.0. So we are going to discuss what are the major steps that has been taken in last 1 year by Modi's government. So first of all, if we try to understand one thing where we have seen a massive crackdown is against Naxalism. Modi government has ramped up pressure on the Naxal areas, Naxal strongholds, and has achieved major successes in last 1 year as such. Similarly, the government also has delivered on its promise of ensuring a benefit to the people for general welfare, whether they are from the rural areas or from the urban areas, whether it is about agriculture, health, or anything as such. So let us try to understand the major flagship schemes and the promises it has delivered as far as the fight against Naxalism is concerned. Now, recently, if you try to understand, we have seen that the government has clearly shown its intent where it is trying to establish the presence of government security forces in the remote areas in the hinterlands of India, which till before was considered as the bastion of Naxals as such. So, as far as the Naxal insurgency is concerned, it has taken a strong measures as such. Flagship welfare policies that was introduced in the early terms of Prime Minister Modi is continued, and also it has been even expanded as such. So first of all, let us try to understand about Naxalism. Now we know that Naxalism is not a problem that India has faced in the recent years only. Rather, its origin can be traced back to 1967 when you have the beginning of the movement in the small Naxalbari village of West Bengal under the leadership of Charu Mazumdar, Kanu Sanyal and Jangal Santhal as such. So basically, almost we can say 50 years have passed since India has been tackling the problem of Naxal insurgency. It was just in last year, month of August 2024, when Union Home Minister Amit Shah made a promise, made a statement, and he announced that by the end of March 31st, 2026, that is next year, Naxalism, also commonly referred as left-wing extremism. Why left-wing extremism? Because the ideology that it derives from, it works upon, or basically it works on, is left-wing ideology. Largely, it is the ideology of Mao Zedong of China, which Naxals of India today follows or adheres to. So he had made a promise that LWE would be eliminated from the country by March 31st, 2026. And government has clearly shown its intent to bring an end to the urgency that has been plaguing the country for so many years. To this end, security forces have registered significant gains and they have launched a massive counter Naxal campaign, and especially in those areas of central India such as the tri-junction of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Orissa, in the dense forest area which is believed to be the hiding spot of Naxals, is where security forces have carried out their attacks and have ramped up pressure there. Now, as far as the fight against Naxalism is concerned, basically, major inroads have been made by the Maoists in the Maoist stronghold like Bijapur, that is in Chhattisgarh. Then you have Sukma, Chhattisgarh, and Dantewada. So these three areas are also called as Tri-Junction area. This is the region where you have dense sal forest that covers the entire area, and the remoteness of this region is what Naxals have largely benefited from. There has been general lack of major road infrastructure, telecom infrastructure, or power infrastructure, and thus Naxals have enjoyed, also we can say to some extent, patronage and support and sympathy by the local people as well. Now, recent we have seen security forces have intensified their operations, and this operation has been intensified not only because of the call given by Home Minister Amit Shah, but also because of several other additional measures that is taken. For example, several forward operating bases have been constructed for the security forces. Better road connectivity have been ensured so that the time taken by security forces to move from one region to other region can be minimized, and especially when they are chasing Naxals, they will be able to get advantage from this better infrastructure as such. Now, most significantly, if you look at the experts, they argue that why government of India and the security forces working for it have been able to deliver such a successful result. One major reason can be considered to be the political will of the government, where government has gone beyond appeasement policy, where government has gone beyond what we can call as a policy of taking a lackadaisical approach as such. Not what you can say, there has been a general lack of cooperation between central and state government. So all these have recently changed, and thus it shows a strong political will not only of the central government but even at the state government level. Intelligence driven operation also can be considered as the cornerstone of successes that the security forces, especially the central armed police forces of India, have achieved. there has been improved coordination between the state and central agencies, and also in the Chhattisgarh state specifically, now it is the DRG that has taken charge to basically conduct the counter Naxal operations as such. However, it is during this time we can understand that several reverses were faced by Naxals due to the increasing pressure by the forces. So the most successful example we can give from the 2024 Kanker encounter. Kanker is a region in Jharkhand. So about 29 Maoists were killed and 3 security personnel were injured here. Similarly, you have Abujmar, again a region in the Chhattisgarh where clash occurred, where security forces were able to neutralize 38 Maoists and 1 security person were injured. But in the most recent time, if you try to understand, also security forces have faced losses as well. So if you look at last 3, 4, 5 years of data, we have seen that though the area under the control of Naxals have seen a general decline. For example, if you look at the Ministry of Home Affairs report that was published in 2018, and then you look at the Ministry of Home Affairs report from 2023, it clearly states that the number of districts affected has decreased from more than 150 to today less than 60 as well. So they generally, we can see that Naxals are losing ground in the areas where they early used to enjoy a strong foothold as such. But at the same time, we have to understand Naxal still pack lethal power, and they have caused significant damage and that has resulted in the losses of the security forces and the personnel as well. For example, 2019, you have Gadchiroli landmine blast where 15 police personnel and driver lost their life. You have 2021 Sukma Bijapur ambush, again the part of the tri-junction that we have discussed, where about 22 security personnel were killed. Similarly, in 2023, you have Dantewara IED blast. In 2024, we have Bijapur IED attack. So still we can understand though the area under their control is declining, but the number of attacks they have kept on, basically you can say the number of attacks we can see has obviously increased in last few years. Now in the perhaps if we talk about in last month itself, the most successful security operations were conducted by the Central Armed Police Forces, where the security forces are able to kill the General Secretary of CPI Maoist. Now we know that Naxals all across India have come and joined together to form a single umbrella organization. That organization today is CPIM, that is Communist Party of India Maoist. As I said to you earlier, largely Naxals derive their ideology from Maoism, the ideology given by Mao Zedong, who was considered as the father of modern China, People's Republic of China. So its General Secretary, who also was the main commander of Naxal operation, Nambala Keshav Rao, also referred popularly as Basava Raju, along with 27 other Naxal cadres, were killed in an encounter conducted by security forces in the state of Chhattisgarh. And this is considered as a very, very important event because it can be a critical moment as far as the government's fight against Naxal is concerned as such, because due to the lack of leadership, now we can also expect Naxal movement to fizzle out, can be weakened, and then further by ramping up pressure on the Naxal hideouts, government can ensure a smooth victory in the coming years also. Now, coming back to the social welfare scheme that has been the flagship schemes and programs of the Modi government, if you take a look at the Ayushman Bharat program, there we have seen a very significant decision taken by the Modi government. For example, last September, after coming into power in its third term, Prime Minister Modi has decided to not only continue the program but also to expand the Ayushman Bharat program. It is also referred as ABPMJY, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. And as per this expansion, now this particular program will encompass and cover all Indians above the age of 70 years, irrespective of their income or social status. Earlier, if you try to understand, the program was launched in 2018. And even before this expansion, if you look at the global scale, Ayushman Bharat program is considered as world's largest health insurance scheme as such. Now, also, it provides free cover of up to 5 lakh per family per year to 40% of most economically backward household in India if suddenly the member of these households suffer health decline or the need to be admitted in the hospital for certain treatments. Now, also, the significance of this program we can understand is also from the perspective that in the coming decades, the number of elderly people in India is expected to grow. And this is as per the longitudinal aging study conducted by the government itself. Now, what is the result of this study? First of all, if you compare the present data with the data in 2050, it is believed that the number of senior citizens we are referring to people who are above 60 years of age. So their number is going to increase from 103 million that was recorded in 2011 to 319 million. That means by 2050, since 2011 that we are considering as a base year, you can see the number will swell up by 3 times. And also percentage wise, if you look, currently as per the recent data, 8.6% of total population of India is what we can call as the senior citizen population. That will further increase to 19.5%, almost 20% in instant. So we have to ensure well-being of the senior citizens as well. We have to ensure that they do not suffer severe health decline and are not and do not have any kind of support system as such. Because also, if you look at the recent study published called as India Aging Report 2023, it has clearly stated that only 20% of the population, talk about the elderly population, senior citizen population, had some kind of government employer provided or personal insurance scheme, health insurance schemes to cover them in case of any unforeseen circumstances or unforeseen health concerns such. So now this 20% of the population, the remaining 80% of the population did not have any kind of health cover. That is what the Ayushman Bharat program is trying to do, and thus it will also ensure that by the middle of the century we are able to ensure well-being of almost 20% of our population as such. Now also government has continued its infrastructure push. For example, it has extended its flagship scheme that it has launched and initiated in the rural areas, that is called as Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin as such. It has both component, rural component and the urban component. Now as far as the Gramin component is concerned, the scheme has been extended to run till 2029, and it paved the way for construction of 2 crore more houses under the program in the rural areas. Thus, we talk about the basic necessities of people, that is food, water and shelter. Shelter part is something that can easily be covered in the rural areas under this particular program. Now, if you see 2029, why 2029? Because this is the time when the tenure of Modi 3.0 will end. First elections will have to be conducted at all India level. Now, Center already has released. It's not only that the scheme has been extended, but also we can see the actual implementation of the scheme and the will of the government as shown by dispensation of 34,000 crore rupees by the central government to the state government, and also it has cleared the allocation of 84.45 lakh houses across entire India out of 2 crore houses that the plan is for the construction plan is that. Not only that, center also has approved Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, fourth phase. This particular Yojana or scheme you talk about was launched during the time of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So basically, again, this is to boost infrastructure, especially road connectivity in the rural hinterlands of India. And under this particular scheme and this particular phase of the scheme, government is trying to connect 25,000 villages with all weather roads again by the end of fiscal year 28-29 as such. So the fight on the counter-insurgency, counter-Naxal front, we have seen about the Ayushman Bharat, that is tackling the health care needs of the senior citizens. We have talked about the shelter need for the people in the rural areas and also the infrastructure needs for the people in the rural area as such. Not only that, government also has ensured the development in agriculture sector, because still a large part of India's population, it's dependent upon agriculture. So a budgetary allocation of rupees 2,817 crore has been made for the mission. The mission is called as Digital Agriculture Mission. We know that today we are living in the era of digitization, where not any sector we can think of where digitization has not penetrated. So basically, this is same thing we can see being implemented, and it will benefit the farmers as well. So out of this, 1,940 crore will be provided by the center, and the rest will have to be borne by the respective state and union territories and their government as well. The government subsequently has announced the building of digital public infrastructure for agriculture in the union budget of both 23-24 and 24-25, and the government seems to have continued with this program as well. So these are the basic, we can say, basically if you try to understand from last few months, largely we have been engaged in looking at government performance at the international level, at the diplomatic front, especially after the Pahalgam attack conducted by Pakistani-backed terrorists, and then what follows was Operation Sindoor, and that led to a 4-day war between India and Pakistan. But we also have to understand that a lot of steps are being taken by government for the welfare and well-being of the citizens at the domestic level, at the national level as well. So these were some of those measures that we have discussed about. That is all about this particular video. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such content. Thank you very much.